What's up, YouTube? Crossover MMA back in here for another video. This will be my UFC Saudi Arabia recap. I went 8-3 on the card, not too bad. Timestamps will be in the description. Without further ado, let's get right into it. In the main event versus Nasser Dean Imovov. In round one, Izzy controlled majority of the round using his feints, his leg kicks, slick movement. Imavov wasn't really able to land much in the first round, and Izzy's looking like his usual self. Izzy even doubled up Imavov on significant strikes thrown and landed. However, Imavov lands a massive uppercut, and it's the biggest shot of the round. Round two starts, and 30 seconds in, Nassourdine Imavov lands a massive right straight, drops Izzy, then lands a big left uppercut. Izzy just covers up. Imavov jumps on him, lands some ground and pound. Mark Goddard steps in, stops the fight, and it's a TKO win for Nassourdine Imovov. This is the biggest win for Nassourdine Imovov in his young career. Where does Israel Adesanya go from here? I think Imavov should get the loser of Strickland DDP, or you just put him in there with Cal Barallo. Let me know what you guys think about those matchups down in the comments. I think Izzy had to go to a very different place to beat Alex Pereira at UFC 287. And I just think that win took everything out of him. Since that fight, Izzy's 0-3. I think that was the apex of the career of Israel Adesanya, and it just took everything out of him. I still think he's a top 10 middleweight, but he's getting hit by shots he never used to get hit with. And Father Time is definitely undefeated. I think he's starting to tug on the coattails of Israel Adesanya a little bit. So much of his game is built around reaction time, head movement, footwork, and these are all things that slow down with age. Even if he's 5% slower, which is still faster than 98% of fighters, that still means he's much more likely to get caught by the top guys. I think Izzy needs to take some time off and regroup. I really don't think there's a fight for him at middleweight at the current moment. Just give it some time and let things play out and revisit later in the year. In the co-main event, we had Shara Magomedov versus Michael Venom Page. The story of this fight was MVP's distance management and speed. It was way too much for Shara Magomedov. He had Shara frustrated, biting on all his feints, not really landing or throwing much. You could see the frustration on Shara, just like you could in the Kevin Holland MVP fight. We saw that they're just levels in striking, and MVP put on a complete masterclass. It was a phenomenal performance. I had it 30-27 for MVP. Shara Bullock just got to go back to the drawing board. I wouldn't put too much into this loss if I was Shara Magomedov, because MVP is just such a unique skill set to deal with on the feet. But what this fight showed is just Shara Magomedov just has no plan B when things aren't going according to plan on the feet. And he needs to add some new wrinkles to his game, maybe some grappling for moments like this when things just aren't going right. A possible next fight for MVP for me, I think Randy Brown would be a good matchup. And from here on out, I think we should just give MVP strikers from here on out and just make fun fights. Shara Magomedov, on the other hand, you could do the winner of Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov, and I think that would be a solid matchup. In the feature fight, we had Sergei Pavlovich versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Sergei Pavlovich showed some major growth in his game. He used some grappling and ground and pound. He looked much more composed and stayed within himself. Usually in his fights, you can tell he wants to brawl straight away and try and get that first round KO. I think he learned a lot from his last two fights against Tom Aspinall and Alexander Volkov. Rarely did he get into brawls, and he didn't really overextend much in this fight. Sergei doesn't quite fight with the same style he did before those two fights, just trying to knock guys out as soon as he's getting in there. And Jairzino Rozenstruik, I mean, the guy just can't get over the hump towards the top of the division for whatever reason. He's a very good fighter. I actually like Jairzino Rozenstruik a lot, but you just can't get over the hump of the top of the division. Sergei Pavlovich's next fight, in my opinion, should be probably Jailton Almeida. I know I called out Ciryl Gane for his next fight, but I think Ciryl Gane's dealing with some broken toes at the moment, so there's no telling how long he'll be out. And then on top of it, we don't know if Ciryl Gane will take the fight. So Sergei Pavlovich, Jairzinho Almeida might be the fight to make. Jairzinho Rozenstruik's next fight, I think we could do Marcin Tybura, two vets in the game at heavyweight. I think that's the fight we should make happen next. In the next fight, we had Said Nurmagomedov versus Vinicius Oliveira. Said looked very fast in round one. The kicks looked like they were coming from nowhere and they were very quick. Oliveira was fighting off the front foot and just stayed in Said's face. I gave the first round to Said. I think he just landed more strikes and landed the better strikes. But then when we got into round two, you just could tell Said Nurmagomedov just started to slow down, and Oliveira's pressure and pace was just starting to wear him down. Oliveira wasn't doing much damage, but the volume and the pace pretty much just won him round two. In round three, it picked up right where it left off, and at this point, you just could tell Said looked gassed. He was virtually diving on single legs and just holding the position to try and rest. Oliveira did enough to get his hand raised. This is a very good competitive fight. Oliveira pretty much just wore Said Nurmagomedov down. Oliveira should continue to clean up his striking, as that can improve his game. Said Nurmagomedov has the skills to make a run, but his cardio is his Achilles heel, and he needs to work on that. For Oliveira, his next fight, I think we should give him a top 15 guy or someone on the fringe, maybe Jonathan Martinez. I think that'd be a solid matchup. For some, we could do Daniel Marcos. I mean, I know that they've been scheduled to fight before, but it got called off. And I say we rebook it and make it happen. In the next fight, we have Fares Ziam versus Mike Davis. For me, this was a clear 30-27 unanimous decision for Ziam. However, this fight was very entertaining. Ziam pretty much just controlled the distance very well when they were on the feet. Davis didn't look comfortable. He was pulling guard very early in the first round. Ziam showed some real improvements in his grappling. He dealt with some heel hooks and a nasty calf slicer from Davis, but he then initiated some really good scrambles, and this fight had some of the best scrambles you'll probably see in MMA. Whenever it seemed like Davis was about to get into an advantageous position, Ziam would just reverse the position or initiate a scramble. Both guys showed a lot of grit. This fight was super bloody as Davis was dealing with a cut and there was blood all over the octagon. I think a solid next fight for Fares Ziam could be number 13, Jalen Turner, who's coming off a loss from Renato Moicano. Mike Davis, on the other hand, I think a solid fight with him could be Mittebek Oderbay. They're both coming off losses, and I think that would be a phenomenal fight. Before we get into the prelim highlights, do me a big favor, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it, and it costs you nothing. In the next fight, we have Shamil Gaziev versus Thomas Peterson. This fight was really just one-way traffic. Gaziev came out, didn't really give Thomas Peterson any respect, just walked him down from the start. You could tell Gaziev was just waiting to land that right straight, and each time he threw it, it pretty much was acting like it had radar on Peterson's chin. He just could not miss. And as the round was going on, you could see Gaziev was just getting Thomas Peterson's timing down, and it was just a matter of time before he would catch Peterson with that big right hand. It took Gaziev 3.5 minutes to land it, and it was a walk-off KO, a beautiful right hand. Gaziev, in my opinion, should get a top 10 matchup. I think Derek Lewis would be a really good matchup for him. Derek Lewis serves as a gatekeeper at heavyweight, and I think it'd be a good matchup. In the next fight, we have Terrance McKinney versus Damir Hadzovic. This fight was another one-way traffic fight. Terrance McKinney came out just stalking Damir straight away, giving him no respect. And Damir wasn't able to get any respect from Terrance. He wasn't really throwing anything out there with any conviction, wasn't landing anything. McKinney even showed some slick grappling, which we know he has in his back pocket. He ended up getting in the mount and just from that point just started to beat Damir up with ground and pound for the TKO win. McKinney's next fight, I think he should fight somebody that was on this card, and I think we should do Terrance McKinney versus Mike Davis. In the next fight, we have Bogdan Grad versus Lucas Alexander. Grad had to deal with some major adversity in round one. Lucas Alexander's striking and reach was giving him some real problems in round one, but Alexander even was getting the better of the grappling exchanges in round one. And I mean, at this point, it was looking like Lucas Alexander was definitely going to get the job done. But then to start of round two, Alexander's right back to piecing up Bogdan on the feet. For whatever reason, Lucas Alexander throws a lazy teep to the body. Bogdan grabs it and then lands a big right overhand, dropping Alexander. Bogdan jumps on him and then just gets right in the mount, starts unloading ground and pound. Lucas Alexander isn't defending himself and is just getting beaten up. Referee Kerry Hatley jumps in, stops the fight. Bogdan Grad gets the TKO win. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. Be on the lookout for my UFC 312 breakdown and prediction video. Questions, comments, feedback, always welcome. And as always, until next time.